Alright, what's going on YouTube? So in this YouTube video today, I'm just going to demonstrate how to use Adobe Premiere Pro just for like basic editing. So let's say for instance that you're a YouTuber and you might have got your first camera. You just want to learn the basics of putting clips together, changing the colors in the clips a little bit, not color grading, but just like how to do basic corrections. Maybe it might be overexposed or something like that. Can show you how to change those settings as well. Show you how to do a couple transitions. Let's see what else we can do. We can do titles, show you how to put titles in, and just show you how to complete a project from, beginning to end using Adobe Premiere Pro. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I got Adobe Premiere Pro already pulled up. So if you was already working on a project or a saved project, your project will be up here. The top project will be the most recent project. But since we don't have anything that we've already been working on, we're gonna go to a new project. And for this one, we're just gonna call it, let's just say basic editing. So basic editing, okay. Excuse me. All right, so when you pull up Adobe Premiere Pro, should look something like this. It might be on this workspace, it might be on your editing workspace, but it'll be on one of these different workspaces, and I'll go through all of these different workspaces to show you what they all do. So assembly, let's say for instance that if you were working on a music video, you have a whole bunch of clips, you would want to import your clips through the assembly tab just because you have more space over in the left panel over here. Now, if you have two clips like what I'm going to have today, you can really just go ahead to the editing tab, and it's the same thing over here, but it's just a little bit smaller. But for demonstration purposes, we're going to go ahead and import our two clips through the assembly tab. So we go over here, double click. So I already had the folder pulled up, so all you would do is left click and hold down and then just drag up, and you will see your two clips highlighted, and then you just hit import, and boom, your two clips are right here. So over here, if you hold the mouse over the clip, it will show you the dimensions of the video that you're working on. So the camera that I use, slow motion is in 1080p and 4K footage is 4K. I didn't use my camera, but I actually used my iPhone, but the settings are pretty much the same. So for the 4K footage, you have 3840 by 2160. So I know that that's my 4K clip. And then over here, I have 1920 by 1080. That lets me know that that's my slow motion clip. So we already have all our footage in our assembly tab. This is all the footage that we're going to use. So now we're going to hop over to our editing tab, and this is where we're actually going to put together our little story, our little video for today. So before we start editing, I'm going to go over the different workspaces that you have over here. So like I said, this is where you would import your clips. Anything you bring into Adobe Premiere Pro will be over here, unless it's a preset or a LUT or something like that. Then that's in a whole nother workspace. But everything will be over here to the left hand side. Over here, this is your preview for the clips that you select. So let's say for instance that you can drag through and preview the clip, but also you can double click on it and it will pop up in the left panel up here, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'm just talking about the different workspaces right now. So yeah, you would double click and then it'll pop up here, and you have a bigger view so you can see, and you can select different portions of the clip that you want, and you can drag the audio and the video, or just the audio only, whatever you want to do. This down here is going to be your timeline. So anything that you put down here will be in your video. So anything that's down here will show up here. This is your playback video. This is your playback window. So anything from left to right that you put into the timeline is what's going to be on your playback screen. All right, so we go down here to our import folder, our bin, and let's start with our slow motion clip first. I'm thinking of music videos when I edit, so I like to start my music videos with slow motion. So let's go ahead and start with the slow motion clip first. So we're gonna double click here, and now we see that it's popped up in our preview window. So we just be able to scroll up through and just see the different parts of the clip that we want. We won't use the whole entire clip because it's slow motion. So I'll just find a nice little part that I feel like would be good for an introduction. So I feel like maybe I feel like this part right here would be good. So a little shortcut that you can use, you can tap I on the keyboard, and that's where the clip will start. And you will scroll up through until you find a point where you want the clip to end at, and then you will hit O. Once you do that, you can go right here where it says drag video only, or you can drag audio only. Now, if you select the clip itself and drag down, that's where it will select the audio and the video. But for today's purposes, we're not going to be working with audio. So we're just going to drag the video only. So we're going to drag the video down to the timeline, wait for it to pop up, and boom, here we go. This is our video right here. This is our slow motion clip. So you can hit enter anytime you want to bring the playback head right here. Anytime you want to bring that back and you want the video to play from the beginning. So you just hit enter and then it'll go ahead and play back the video. So this is our slow motion clip. This is what we will use as our introduction. And I'll show you how to make cuts. I had this clip a little bit longer for a particular reason because I want to show you all how to make cuts when you have clips on your timeline. So yeah, so here we go right here. This is the clip that we're going to use to start our video off. Now we're going to go over here to our 4K clip. We're going to double click there and we're going to find a portion that we would like to use after the slow motion is done playing. After our first clip is over, we want to find another clip. So I want to focus strictly on just making it about the sky or nature or something like that. So I don't want the fences or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and scrub ahead a little bit further. So I'll say right here would be a good point. So you will hit I on your keyboard and then you will scrub through. And let's say the fence starts showing again. So we're going to scrub back just a little bit and we're going to stop it right here. So we're going to hit O and that's in and out. So now we're going to drag this video, the video portion only, to our timeline. And it just connects just like a little magnet right there. So let's say, for instance, that this introduction is a little bit too long. We don't really like the introduction. It's a little bit too long. Let's cut it down a little bit. So if you go over here, you find your razor tool. Your razor tool is how you make cuts. I'm going to show you the more complicated way of using, not showing you the shortcuts when it comes to cutting clips and stuff like that, but that's just for demonstration purposes only. So you'll go over here and you'll select your razor tool. And let's just say, for instance, that this clip is about what? This clip is about 8 seconds. That's long for an introduction. So let's say we're going to cut it down to 5. So we're going to drag our playback head to 5 and we're going to click right here. And as you see, it makes a little cut right here. So now we're going to go back to our selection tool. We're going to click on this and then we're going to right click. And right click, it goes to cut. And we're going to cut that clip out. So now let's see if we play our video back and what happens. So, okay, now it's cut down to about 5 seconds. But now we have this black space right here. So when you are editing in Adobe Premiere Pro, all of your clips need to be touching or you will have a black space like this until the next clip comes. So anytime you make a cut or there's any gaps into the footage, it will show. It will just be a black video. And if you look up here, the yellow line represents that. You'll easily find where there's something broken in there. So all you have to do is just take this, drag it over. It connects like a little magnet and boom. Now you see you have one solid yellow line that lets you know that everything is together. Now let's go back to our video footage. So when we imported our clip, and I should have talked about this before, when we imported our clip, we noticed that it's a little bit more scaled in. It's a little bit pushed in. It's like we don't see much of this tree as we did before. So that's a simple thing. All we got to do is click on this clip and then we're going to right click and we're going to go down to scale to frame size. And now that clip, how we recorded it, is how it's going to be on our playback screen over here. And that's just an easy fix to that. So boom, this is our clip right here. So once again, we hit enter, boom. And let's just say, for instance, that you forgot that you got to go pick the kids up at 3 o'clock and the school is 5 minutes away and you need to save your project. All you would do, I have mine set on auto save, but all you would do is go up here to file, go down to save, and you'll see that come through, and now it'll save. So when you close Adobe Premiere Pro and go back to that beginning screen, if this was your most recent project that you worked on, it will be at the top. All you do is click on it, make sure you still have the clips on your computer, and it will take you back to wherever you left off at. But make sure that you save it. Please make sure you save it, and I can show you in another video on how to turn auto save on. It's pretty easy. You can have it to where it saves every minute or so. I think I have it on every minute just because I've lost a couple projects by Adobe Premiere crashing. So I just want to make sure that, I'd rather lose a minute of work time than 2 hours of work time. That's a huge difference. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get back into it. So now that we have our clip, let's go ahead and hit enter and see how we like it. So we got our slow motion clip of the sky. And then we have the regular 4K footage of me just spinning the camera around. And that's it. That's all we're going to use today. We're not really going to tell a story or anything like that. I'm just going to show you all some basic things. So we're going to go ahead and make this, put this right here. All right, so let's say, for instance, that we still don't like this. We still don't like this clip. We want this clip to be a little bit shorter. So all we would do is we could drag the playhead to where we want it to stop at. And all you do is you saw the arrow is pointing to the left. That's letting you know that it's going to cut this clip down. So boom, it's just going to cut it down to the playhead. And now we notice that the yellow line is broken now. So what we got to do is we got to drag the clip before it over and reconnect it. And boom, now we have a solid yellow line. So let's say for instance that we play back and we satisfied with the footage that we have, but we don't like the transition from this scene to this scene. We don't like that cut. So what we'll do is we'll go up to our effects workspace up here. We will type in cross dissolve, or you can just type in cross and then look for cross dissolve. Here it is right here. All you got to do is click on it and hold, and then drag down right where the cut is. All right, and just to show you what it do, so let me hit play, and it just blends the clips together nicely. If you extend it out further, it makes it a lot more smoother, a lot slower. If you bring it together, it makes it a lot quicker. So whichever is your preference of how you want to do it. I use cross dissolves a lot, and we can also use a cross dissolve to open up our footage as well, open up our clips as well. So let's hit enter. So it's a nice little intro. Then we have a cross dissolve to open things up, and boom. And also I like to add, there's a transition called dip to black. So here it is right here. So we add that right there. Me personally, I'm not a fan of dip to black. I don't know why. I just prefer to use cross dissolve in my opinion, but to me they're pretty much the same thing in a sense, but I just prefer to use cross dissolve. So we're just gonna go with cross dissolve, but dip to black is another one to use, and they also have dip to white as well. So now we're gonna go over here, just gonna shorten that just a little bit, and let's see how this ends. So boom, a lot simple, opens up, dissolves at the cut, and then dissolves at the end. All right, so let's say we want to put a title onto this clip that we have right here. So we will go up here to File. Let's go to New. Let's go to Legacy Title. Well, before we do that, let me go back over here to Captions and Graphics. So if you just want to add words, I recommend you just go to Legacy Title and do it that way. But there's other ways as well. Adobe Premiere already has plugins for you that you can use, and you can just scroll through if you see anything that you would like to use. You can just use one of these presets over here for the title, but for today's purposes, we're just gonna do the old school way of just putting the words in, since it's something real simple. So we go to File, New, Legacy Title, and then we hit OK. Hit OK again. All right, so right here is where we would make our title at. So all you do is just click, and you will see that's where it's allowing you to put text in up here. You go up here and you just find the type of font that you want to use. For today, let's just say we use American Typewriter, and we want it to be in bold, and we want our text size to be 200 instead of 100. So boom. All right, and for the title, we're just going to name it Sky. All right, and let's say for instance that you wanted this to be centered. All you do is just go over here, click this one right here, and it will center the text for you. If you wanted to change the colors, you can come over here and change the color of it. So let's say for instance, if we wanted to do a red, we can change it to red. So that's another quick little tool that you can use. And after you created your text and everything, all you do is hit the X. It won't close out of Adobe Premiere Pro. It's just gonna close out the title window. So you just hit X. And now you go back to, you look over here to the left, here's our title right here. So all we would do is take that and then drag that over. And now we have Sky. So the only thing now that we need to do is we need to make a cut to where we want this to end at. So we don't want the word Sky to blend into our other clips. We know that for sure. So instead of making a cut, all we gotta do is just drag the back end closer to the other end. And I think that's a good point right there. And let's say we want to start this as soon as this video opens up after this cross dissolve right here. Let's say that's when we want to start our title. So boom, we hit enter. Let's just see how that looks. All right, so me personally, I'm not a big fan of text just randomly popping up and then text just randomly entering. I like smooth transitions. So we're gonna go back to our effects tab over here. Cross dissolve is already pulled up. So we're just gonna put a cross dissolve at the beginning and at the end. So right here, we're gonna go ahead and take that down a little bit. And then we're gonna put one at the end. And we're gonna take that down a little bit. Now we're gonna hit enter, and now we see the difference. Boom, and then it smoothly blends out. And that's pretty much it. All right, so that's how you do the title. And make sure that if you don't have auto save on, make sure you continue to hit save, or you can just find out how to change your auto save settings or turn them on. That's something very, very helpful. Make sure you all do that, because Adobe Premiere Pro will crash at times. It's not a perfect piece of software. It will crash. All right, so let's say for instance that on our second clip, we noticed that it's just a little too bright in the sky. we wanted to make it a little bit darker. So we'll go over here to our color workspace, and this is just basic correction. I'm not going to get into everything about it. You do have to know a little bit about editing. If you edit like pictures or anything like that, you might be familiar with shadows, whites, blacks, and stuff like that. But I'm gonna touch on the basic things. So over here we have our exposure that controls how bright this clip is. So we're gonna go ahead and take that exposure down. I feel like it's a little bit too overexposed. So let's go ahead and take that down, and now we get to see more detail. Our sky is a little bit more detailed. The trees are a little bit more detailed. The color's looking a little bit better. Let's add a little contrast to it. It's gonna add like just a little darkness to it. Allow them colors to pop a little bit more. The highlights, we can take the highlights down a little bit just because we have white clouds. Our shadows, we can bring our shadows down a little bit. For some reason, when I bring down the shadows in my footage, to me, the shadows just allows you to get more detail out of your footage. Now, you don't want to bring it down too far, but a decent amount is okay. Your whites, you can play around with it. Whites is similar to exposure in a sense, but not exactly the same. But it does make the image brighter. So we're just gonna drop the whites down just a little bit, and then we're gonna crush our blacks just a little bit more. And let's say we want the greens to pop a little bit more. We can take our saturation and just bring it up. So let's just say, if you already know a number, let's just say we're gonna do 110. So we just type in 110, hit enter. Let's say I don't like it. All you gotta do is double click and it'll return back to the normal position. But we're gonna keep it at 110 for right now. So now after we did our basic correction, now we go over to our color temperatures. Now some people like warmer images, some people like cooler images. So it's all on your preference. There's a right way to do it, but it's all about your preference. It's not a music video. You're not doing anything for clients. So you don't really you can break the rules on this one right here. Whatever looks good to your eye. So let's say we wanted a warmer tint or we wanted a cooler tint. So it's pretty much like springtime. So in springtime, summertime, I like to use more warmer tints, and I'm really warmer year round when I edit. If you go to my Instagram page, you will see a lot of my edits, they're on the warmer side and not really the cooler side. So let's just say we're gonna put a little bit more orange tint in there. If we want to, we can add a little magenta in there, or we can add a little bit more green. I would recommend you add a little bit more green. It gives off a little bit, it allows those trees just to pop a little bit more. So this is our footage. It looks a lot better. If we go up here, we can turn it off to see what it looked like before and then what it looks like now. That's a hell of a difference right there, just off of basic editing. It's not even color grading. This is just basic editing. So that's a very helpful tip for you all as well. Now let's go to the sky. Let's see, I feel like we can manipulate this sky a little bit, bring out the blues a little bit more. So let's bring up the exposure a little bit. I feel like that sky is just a little too dark. Let's bring up the contrast on there. Let's take down the highlights just a little bit so our clouds can just pop a little bit more. Let's bring down the shadows just a little bit so we can get a little bit more details. Blacks, we can drop the blacks a little bit, and whites, we can drop the whites as well as too. Now saturation, since the sky is blue, I want to bring the saturation to about 115. We're gonna add a little bit more into the sky. So now we see our sky being a little bit more blue. And if we click the effects right here, this is what it looks like before. This is what it looks like now. So we see those blues in the sky coming in a little bit more. Now how we can really bring the blues out is if we go up here to our temperature and we adjust the temperature. Now it depends on you if you want to do warmer, if you want to do cooler. Since we're working with blue, if you want more blue, just go towards the blue side and you will get more blue in the sky. Or you can do more orange to provide a little bit more balance. Since blue is already a cooler tone, you can go in the opposite direction and you can make it a lot warmer. So let's just bring it up a little bit more. So this is what we had before, this is what we have now. That's a hell of a difference. That looks good. That's Instagram. That can go on Instagram, honestly. Now it's a little bit things that I would do a little bit more to this, but for you all that don't really know much about color grading, right here is perfect, honestly. This is definitely presentable. And if you want to go to your tint, you can add a little bit magenta, or you can add a little bit of green. Me personally, I would add a little bit of green in this. Magenta it just looks a little weird. I would add green into this, and boom, this is what we have so far. So let's hit enter and let's play through our clip and see what we have. So we got the sky, and then we have this right here. Okay, cool. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how you edit a video. That's how you add titles, transitions, different things of that nature. If you wanted to do music, all you would do is double click over here, go and find out where your audio file is, and you will bring your audio file down and you will put it down on this other side right here. Since we're not working with audio, we're not going to do anything pertaining to audio. So now we put the video together, but how do you get it on your phone? All right, so you go up here to file and make sure that if you're selected over here and you try to export the video, so we're gonna go to file, export, it's not gonna allow, media is not gonna be selected. So you need to make sure that you're selected on your timeline, like this blue line or this blue rectangle is around your timeline so you can export that. So now we go to file, try to do the same thing again, export media. Now we're able to export that. And before I do export it, I will say this. Now, you do not want to have a clip that's all the way over here, because this is where the video will end over here. So if you have, let's say for instance, you was over here chopping up on the timeline and you got this little one outlier that's all the way over here. If you export the video with this clip, your video will now be about 20 seconds versus in reality, the video is only about 5 seconds long. So you want to make sure that you want to just check your timeline, go down here and you can drag it out to the right to make sure you don't have anything else on the timeline. So this right here, we want to delete that. We want to take that off of the timeline to make sure we're not making our video longer than it should be. All right. So now we have our clip together. So now we're gonna go ahead and export this clip. Make sure our blue rectangle is around our timeline. We go to file, then we go over here to export, go to media. All right, now for your export settings, I'm gonna go as if I was exporting the video from my camera. So I'm gonna just put my camera settings in here. So for format, I don't want to use QuickTime format. I'm gonna go down to 8.264. I mean H.264. And then you can do match source high bit rate, or you can go to high quality 1080p, mobile device 720, whatever the case may be. I just do match source high bit rate. And you can also go down to here to use maximum render quality, and that will now change it to custom instead of high bit rate. So you can just use maximum render quality just for this video. It's only 5 seconds long. If you want to, you can also select your thumbnail as well for the export. So let's say for instance, it begins here and you don't want that black screen when you as your thumbnail. All you got to do is just drag this over until you get to the point to where you want it. So let's just say right here looks pretty cool. We got this sky. Let's just use this right here for a demonstration. So the output name, this is what the video is going to be titled on your computer where you save it to. So all you got to do is double click if you want to change that, and let's just put sky. Let's just do sky video. Now where you want to save it at, it's up to you, but for me, I'm just going to do it to the desktop. File format, you want to make sure you keep it in MP4. You shouldn't be able to change it to anything that's a video. It's pretty much an MP4 file. So all you do is hit save, and all you do is go over here to hit export and wait for that to export. Now we saved it to our desktop, so let's go to our desktop, and over here it tells us that the video was exported successfully. So we're going to hit the minimize. We're going to go over here to our desktop and see our video. So we're going to double click on that. And exactly how we created it in our workspace is how it should play back. And boom, there we go. That's our video right there. And other than that, you all, if there's anything else you all want me to touch on when it comes to editing, anything else you want me to go into more detail with, please let me know. I have no issue doing that. I do plan on actually making this, making different parts of this video and going into detail, maybe with the coloring process, maybe, or the different transitions that you can use. But all in all, just get in here and just play around with different things. If you want to play around with different effects as well, you don't have to just use cross dissolve. You can go to video transitions, and you can just go over here and just drag different things over and just see what does what. And all you want to do, if you wanted to take anything out, all you got to do is click on it, right click and hit clear, and it will take that transition out, and it'll allow you to put another transition in. And so when this red line pops up, that means you need to render. So all you got to do is just hit enter, let it render. Give it a little time to render. And once it renders, that red line right here will disappear. And boom, that's it. So that's another little cheesy transition. I don't use the transitions in Adobe Premiere Pro just because it's just not to the professional liking of the clients and of me. But if there's anything else you all want me to touch on, please make sure you drop it in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel and check out the other videos that I've mentioned. And like I said, anything you all want to know, if I know it, I don't mind giving information on it. And once again, appreciate you all for tuning in.